Welcome back to our RBD Building Blocks series. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we're working on block number 9. It is the last block in this series. It's called Sarah's Choice. It's a beautiful star block with a nice pinwheel in the center. So the first thing you need to do is download the pattern on our Riley Blake Designs website. Again, it's called Sarah's Choice. Gives you cutting instructions for all the pieces that you'll need. I've previously cut out all my pieces and labeled them, and I'm ready to get started on this block. So the first thing you're going to do, which it mentions in the pattern, is to cut out. I'm going to put on my glasses today. It is to take your D squares. Where is our D squares? Right here, because we're going to make this center pin block. And you need to mark them corner to corner. Now that is going to be your guide, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on each side of this when you put it, match it to the F block and put them right sides together. Let's get this stickered. Now that line can be our cut line. I'm just going to cut these down the center, and that makes 2 half square triangles. Now let's take it over to our pressing station. I am going to open these up and press to the dark side. Let it cool underneath my clapper. Okay, these need to be 3.5 inches. So again, you're going to line this center diagonal line up on the center seam. I pull it down to one corner. I can trim less sides. I'll put that over there. I'm going to trim up all 4 of these. All right, let's put this to the side. And let's start assembling our pinwheel. So just kind of take a look how the pattern reads. Looks like that goes that way. There we go. There's the beginnings of our pinwheel. We're going to flip that over like this and just sew it together like a 4 patch. Those seams can nest. These seams do not, because that's just 2 straight sides. Okay, let's bring it over here. Open it up. Those should just be about 1/4 inch from the edge. So that's looking good. Make sure all your pinwheels are going the right direction. Now I'm gonna finger press this and nest those seams. They're quite bulky, so just give them a good little finger press. Put a pin in the middle. You can pin your 2 sides if you want. Make sure they line up. These are lining up well, so I'm not going to pin my two ends. Okay, let's go check it out at our pressing station. It's looking good. All the points are meeting in the center. So I'm going to give it a quick press and open it up. Very good. Now there is, you can just press it like that to one side. There is a lot of bulk right in the center. So I'm just gonna kind of open up those seams. And since this seam is pressed one way, I'm gonna press one seam to the side. And I'm just kind of loosening those threads, and they're warm, so they kind of open it up. And you kind of make this 4 patch in the middle, like that. Do you see that? And then that seam will go to that side, that seam will go to this side. It's just an extra step to help your block lie a little flatter. Now I'm going to press it here, flip it over, and then all the seams are going in the opposite direction. So my pinwheel is finished. Now we got to create all these flying geese. So there's 4 of them. And so we're going to take our A rectangles, and then we take our E and our C. Now, this is the tricky part, because you want to make sure these are going the right way, because if you look at this block, it's going to be important to make sure you're putting the right color on the right side. So pay attention to your pattern, because it is kind of like a reverse flying geese, and they have opposite colors. So we're going to grab our C and our E, and we're supposed to draw corner to corner. I've already done this, creating our flying geese, and this time these units you're going to sew on your marked line. And we're going to take our A. Again, it's a reverse flying geese because it creates this star, and you don't see the flying geese, you just see the points. That is going to go, I confuse myself sometimes. And we want these to be our points. So that's it. We want our point to go that way. You're gonna just double check it with your pinwheel here. Do you see how that's gonna continuously move into that direction? It's just gonna flow into that direction. So that is the right direction that this darker pink is going. And we're going to chain piece these. We're going to do the pink all together. So again, just make sure they're going the right direction. I'm going to put these all together and sew them together, right sides together. Okay, bring them back to your cutting station. Clip your threads in between. And before you trim off, we are going to check one last time. That's going the right direction. That's what makes this Sarah's choice, is the layout of these blocks. So I'm going to just grab this trim up ruler and use that as my guide and trim down to 1/4 an inch. Okay, let's go press these open. First, give them a quick setting the seams. It just makes your fabric so much easier to work with when you're opening up like that. Cool under the clapper. Okay, those are good to go. Now we're going to get our other half of our points. It's going to go on this side. Marked line is going to go over, creating that point right in the center. Again, you're welcome to put a pin in these. That's helpful, whatever works for you. Hopefully on this series you have found some tips that resonate with you, or you made your own tips. That's what the beauty of sewing, you can make it your own. All right, let's take a look. See if this is ready to go. So you open it up. That is looking good. So let's trim down to 1/4 of an inch. Okay, let's press these open. Let's give those all a good press. Okay, let those cool off for just a minute and we can start getting our block ready to be prepped. I do just check these to make sure I've got a 1/4 inch seam allowance. They should be the 6.5 inches. Just check a couple. They should be they're ready to go. You can always check your pinwheel. Make sure it's all squared up. Looks good to go. And let's assemble our block. Pinwheel goes in the middle. We've got 2 your point. It's on the side. That's how we'll assemble that. And this goes on the top and bottom. Make sure they're going the right way. That looks good. Looks good. Okay, we can go on the outside. Well, let's flip these over and we'll start sewing our block together. What's going to be important is that any of these points right here are kind of a reverse flying geese, are lined up with the seams in our pinwheel. So I just kind of flip it back. Just kind of eyeball that. I'm going to put a pin right there. And put a pin up here. I got a loose. Oh, I'm going to clip that real fast. Make sure that's lined up. And we're going to chain piece these 3 sections together. have this right here. See how nicely that point lines up? And I also, if I sew on this side, I can see when I'm stitching down that I don't cut in or sew into this point. So I like that extra step. Now we can flip these over to the center. And I'm actually going to start on this side so I can flip it around so I can watch my point. Again, checking your point, lining it up. It's so important. You can even lift it up and do it that way. Okay, let's open them up. Both those points line up. Now we just have 2 more seams. But remember to line up the center point to your pinwheel seam. So again, line that up. It's my first pin. And now you've also got these seams to contend with, and you want to nest them. So I like that this block flips out, that center pinwheel. So I'm going to let that flip out, and then these seams are going to flip in. Just nest them up. And it's helpful to have that little thread. Okay, let's flip that around. I'm going to line up that center point. There's just a little bulk there, so it's important to pin it right there. Okay, it's looking good, so let's go press. I'm going to use a spritz a little bit, get a little water on here, see if it'll be more flexible. So we're flipping those seams in. So when we open them up, all right, this is feeling really good. Let's square it up. Just line up all the angles. And I do not see anything that needs to be trimmed. So that Sarah's Choice quilt block is finished. And that is block number 9. We are done with the quilt blocks in this series, but we have one more video for you. It's finishing up the quilt, showing you how to do the sashing and the borders. So join us next time for our RBD Building Block series where we finish the quilt.